I don't know what happened this morning. I feel like I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I don't have any memories. I just feel really, filled with berserker rage. Maybe I'm just hangry or... Oh! Where did these come from? And why am I holding X-Men Origins Wolverine?
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Guilty Movie Pleasures.
Look out, I'm claw dancing.
Oh boy.
I'm claw dancing.
Oh boy.
And I have the other, ah! Just want to sharpen these, just make these sounds in the microphone all day, am I right? If you're wondering, yes, I do have the third claw. It broke.
Raise your hand if you were wondering.
It broke. It broke. So, hey, you can be X23.
Nice.
Today. There you go.
Nice.
Enjoy my sweaty palms.
I appreciate it.
It's, so hey! Ladies and gentlemen, Wolverine fans, in honor of the last ride of Hugh Jackman as my favorite superhero of all time, Logan, a.k.a. James Howlett, a.k.a. Wolverine, we're talking back to the beginning of the solo franchise. We went all the way back to 2009.
Origins.
To X-Men Origins Wolverine. Now, here's the thing. Before we get into this, I'm not going to spoil anything too much about Logan. If you haven't seen it, I've seen it twice already. And I'm just going to say personally, it might be my favorite comic book movie ever made.
Oh, wow.
Because it doesn't play like a comic book movie. It plays like a Western that instead of slinging guns, he has these babies right here. You know, not these exact
Those
ones,
exact.
these exact
Those
ones.
exact
I stole them from
ones.
Hugh Jackman. So
Right
I'd
out
love
of
to
his
know,
hands.
tweet at me your thoughts. If you didn't like the movie, get ready to argue with me, because I've had to block, hide posts on Facebook from 2 friends that didn't like it. I was because I started getting...
Name those friends.
I can't.
Name them on air.
I can't. I won't. I'm not going to call
What
them
a
out.
coward.
Anyways, I love Logan. I no matter what, bad or good movies, Hugh Jackman has always been awesome as Wolverine, even if the movie was not so great. And so I'll come right out and say, when I first saw this at a midnight screening, opening night, back when they still did midnight screenings and not 7 p.m., which I'm glad they do 7 now. But I went to a midnight screening. I dragged my then girlfriend, now wife, to see it.
Did you get married because of this?
No. If anything, I'm amazed we didn't get divorced.
Interesting. Okay.
And I got progressively more depressed as the movie went on, because I'm a huge Wolverine fan. They fuck up the origin left and right. They mess up so many things, and especially Deadpool, which luckily, but like somebody had pointed out on Twitter, if this movie didn't exist, we wouldn't have Logan and we wouldn't have Deadpool. We needed a monumental failure of a film to allow us to have the directors to have the creative freedom to actually do something good, because this is the perfect example of too much studio meddling.
Okay, I have a
Have you seen
myriad
it?
of questions.
Yes, please.
Because
I'm literally doing the entire show like this.
I think
by
you
the way.
should.
Yep.
I think it's important. I took mine off because I feel like a
I forgot I
second-class
just
citizen.
shaved. It's a little raw.
Is that
when you
how
do
you
this.
shaved?
Yeah. This is why- Anyway, sorry. Keep going.
Is that-
You got to put it back on.
That's
You're
what I said.
X23.
I said I feel like a second-class citizen because I only have the 2.
Well, here, you can hold the other one in
I'll
there.
hold the other one.
Yeah, just hold it
There
awkwardly
we go.
in
I'm
there.
gonna hold it in my other hand.
All right, the entire podcast.
Yeah, this is how we're rolling today. So, quick
Yeah.
tangential question:
Yeah.
does he ever shave that way?
Does he ever shave that way?
Yeah.
In the comics, yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
But he's
I was just
rarely ever
curious.
shaven. But I've seen, yeah.
Right. So I want to talk about this movie in a couple of different contexts. The first, I'm going to cede the floor to you with respect to the rest of the franchise, where it fits in.
Because how many X-Men have you seen? All of them?
I've seen a couple, a smattering.
Did you see the last Wolverine where he was in Japan?
No, I did not.
That's actually awesome until the last third.
Okay, so watch the first 2/3.
No, it's
You see
still
Ghost.
okay, but it becomes like a CGI fest at the end, and it's kind of disappointing.
Well, I love festivals, so I might enjoy
even
it.
of the CGI nature.
Yeah, even CGI festivals are a grand old
Steve,
time.
please tell me this is recording, right? We are recording and not just talking to ourselves, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah! If you're watching this now, we
Nice.
recorded this earlier. Hope you enjoy.
Nice.
All right, just making sure.
And then I also want to talk about it as a standalone movie.
Yep.
But first, you mentioned a tweet. One of our very generous Twitter followers out there mentioned, if not for this movie, Deadpool and Logan would not have existed. Can you explain that?
I think that the fan backlash to this movie was so strong that it made Fox reevaluate what they were doing, and And I think that specifically with Deadpool, they fucked up so bad. I mean, nobody ever thought that the Deadpool would happen. Actually, Logan wouldn't happen if Deadpool hadn't happened, and Deadpool wouldn't have happened if Ryan Reynolds hadn't leaked that spec footage from Deadpool that they had shot. But I think you needed something that was so hated by fans to get an actual good movie made, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Because usually this either ends the franchise or makes you regroup and do better the next time around.
Sure.
I'm amazed. The thing that I think is so cool about Hugh Jackman is that he is the Wolverine. He is Logan, and he's survived 17 years of this franchise. When they've rebooted with Days of Future Past, where they basically erased this timeline and X-Men: The Last Stand, and he's survived it all. He's survived he's in every single movie. It's crazy. He's nine movies.
I think most of our viewers know Hugh Jackman from Les Mis. So just if you want to give us a small background on this, this particular
you may know
role.
him from. Oh, this is actually kind of starting to hurt. I got to rest it for a second. How does he do that? So,
but so he has played Wolverine for 17 years. The rest of the cast of X-Men, that has been a bit of a revolving door, or a lot of the same people have been in
There's
all
two
of them?
timelines. So there's the X-Men First Class timeline, and then there's the 2000 X-Men movie Bryan Singer timeline that then converged on Days of Future Past. So Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen were Professor X and Eric Lensher, a.k.a. Magneto, in the old ones, and then James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender in the new ones, and they're going to be the continuing timeline, the younger versions of them.
Moving forward.
But Days of Future Past combined the two, and then altered and erased X-Men: The Last Stand, where they fucked up the Phoenix Saga, and it altered this and completely changed. It retconned, like X-Men, the comics retcon, which is retroactively changing the continuity. They do that a ton in the comics anyways, where they're like, Professor X was dead.
Sure.
Now he's back.
Sure.
So this movie, watching it years later, it came out in 2009. First off, the special effects look like Roger Rabbit. Somebody said, "Who Framed Roger Rabbit?" I think it was Tony Morrow who said, "Who Framed Roger Rabbit?" claws, where they look like they're animated. And when he shoves it in the mirror, it's like, why couldn't they have just given him practical claws like I'm holding right now? Like, why does it look like he's holding Who Framed Roger Rabbit cartoon claws that if you dip in the vat of acid, they'll disappear?
Well, because everyone knows Hugh Jackman cannot be trusted
with those claws.
Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that. But I think it's a testament to him that he could survive a movie like this, because Andrew Garfield, I said Peter Garfield. Andrew Garfield, the Spider-Man movies tanked. He couldn't survive going on to.
Sure.
Now they replaced him. Tobey Maguire. He wasn't replaced, but the Sam Raimi trilogy finished with 3, and so there've been 3 Spider-Mans, 2 Supermans, and 3 Batmans since he started, I believe.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I think. Yeah,
I think that's right.
That's right.
I'm gonna go with it. Even if at least 2 Batmans. Because there was at least Christian Bale and Ben Affleck within the time frame that he did this. Anyways, let's talk. So
I feel like Batman and Robin came out after one of the first X-Men.
I think it was like 98. So what is your initial? Because you never saw this, right?
No,
so
I never saw it.
What are your thoughts going in? Like, what were your thoughts going in versus what you got?
I mean, I was open to it. What I got was a lot, and this is sort of to be expected when there is source material and there is so much like celebration and base knowledge from the demographic that you're trying to hit.
Super nerds like me.
Well, just like not necessarily
Who
even
has
that.
2 of my Wolverine figures.
Right, I know. I wish
you
you had told me we were bringing our figures, because I would have brought mine. Mine are still in the original wrapping.
Yeah,
and still at the store.
His claws come out. Anyways, keep going. God, I'm nerding out so much.
Now we can, if you want, we can quit the discussion and just
play
with the toys. How much would you guys want to see that? That's a pay-per-view.
That's a pay-per-view.
If you guys want that, you can
YouTube
Venmo
Red.
Guilty Movie Pleasures.
YouTube Red, everybody. Oh, fuck. These aren't staying. Just keep going.
But so there's a lot of, to me, as someone who didn't have that context and base knowledge, a lot of confusing motivation, which made it very hard to like
That has nothing to do with
jump
the.
on
That has nothing to do with the history
the
of
ride.
Wolverine. It's because the movie's shit.
Well, yeah. So I didn't like not knowing,
Not knowing that.
it was.
You're
like,
just thinking, oh man, I'm missing some comic book
I was like,
backstory.
man, they just like skipped over a part where Liev Schreiber just decides he hates him, and I don't really
Makes
know
no
why.
yeah.
Like they're brothers and they're fighting together for it seems like I guess centuries.
Yeah, and then here comes my coffee. This is what happens when
Hey.
you're a host here for a couple of years.
Say hi to the audience.
No paycheck, but you get coffee handed to you. Oh, that's good, Jeff. That's good. Anyways, keep
I
going.
guess are they working on my chai? Can we check on that?
You got to be here 3 years to get a chai.
God damn.
I only got a half a cup.
Well,
though.
that smells delicious. I want everyone out there to know that the smell in the studio has changed significantly. That's a delicious
right.
scent.
I want to talk so much about this movie, so I don't want to
I'm
derail.
stuck on coffee smells.
So,
yeah, so there
no,
was a lot of stuff where I was like,
not your fault.
what?
Nope, it's just the movie.
It's okay.
Here's the thing: this movie is similar, although I don't think as bad as the Fantastic Four reboot that they did with Michael B. Jordan and Kate Mara and Miles Teller and Jamie Bell. I don't know why I felt the need to list everybody.
All of them
But-
deserve credit.
There you go, because they're great in it. It's
Yeah.
again where the cast in this is pretty great for the most part.
Sure.
It's just the movie sucks, and just like Fantastic Four, it feels like 3 different movies in one. Where it's like the first 20 minutes, I remember when I first saw it. Now I don't like it, but the first 20 minutes when he's with the Weapon X team and stuff, I was like, this is kind of fun. Okay, Deadpool being snarky, kind of whatever. But compared to the Deadpool we have now, he's so monotone and boring.
Sure.
And I love Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
Sure.
But in this, we have a Deadpool clip. Can we play, I think it's clip number 3, his Deadpool snark. This is just to show you the difference between the Deadpool we now know and love to then.
Great. Stuck in an elevator with 5 guys on a high-protein diet.
Oh, wait.
Dreams really do come true.
So just shut it. You're up next.
Thank you, sir. You look really nice today. It's the green. Brings out the seriousness in your eyes.
Oh, my God. You ever shut up, pal?
No, not when I'm awake.
It's like, it's funny, but it's not Deadpool yet, you know? It's still like...
He's like holding something back a little bit.
And now if it was the real Deadpool, now it'd be like, oh, great, we're not here with us. Say, did you eat beef today? Yeah, I smell beef farts.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be so much more extroverted and goofy. And
That might be the difference just in Ryan Reynolds being as part of an ensemble in an elevator and Ryan Reynolds being like the dude in the movie.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
them just being like, so you're the guy.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do it.
And you wonder how much of that was like direction, you know?
Sure.
Like, was he directed to be kind of more... Because this movie takes itself so seriously for how stupid it is.
Yeah.
That's the problem. But then, and Logan, to juxtapose that, takes itself very, very seriously, but has moments of levity that are really funny, but grounded in reality. This one just is a mess. But watching it now, I can enjoy it for its cheese factor, even though it's hands down, it's tied with X-Men: The Last Stand for me as the 2 worst X-Men movies.
Ooh,
Because
not a good distinction.
Have you seen Last Stand?
No.
It's not good. They both, but because the problem is that they both mess up the mythology so much. So let's get into.
Let me just say this. I saw the first 3, the Bryan Singer ones.
Yeah.
Because
That was The Last Stand. Was the last one that was Brett Ratner directed.
Then I saw 2.5 of them.
Okay.
Because I like caught some of the last one on TV.
Not very good. It's a decent action movie, but it's a shitty action movie.
It just I since like not to beat this point too hard, but I just don't have the context, and so I can't just like jump in somewhere and see an isolated story and be like, I know exactly what's happening.
Oh, yeah.
I'm fully into this. I needed that linear story from the beginning to the end of the trilogy.
And ironically, this is supposed to be a linear origin story.
It's supposed to be an
It's
origin
not.
story.
So let's get into this. So
Yeah.
let's get into the plot in under 3 minutes
Yeah.
right now, because there's a lot to talk about, and we have 35 minutes to do so. So please do. We are ready right now.
Speak for yourself.
So we start off with sick little James Howlett. He's a kid. He's coughing, and Victor, his older brother, or we don't know it's his brother yet, is very angry with him. Like, come on, you gotta get better. And then you hear gunshots downstairs. He goes downstairs. He thinks his dad's been shot, but you find out that actually his bone claws come out, and he goes, ah! And he goes and stabs the guy that shot his dad, and it turns out that was his real dad, and he's brothers with Victor. And then they have this montage of them fighting in the Civil War, World War I, World War II, Vietnam, and now they're on the Weapon X, and then they're going to be shot in front of a firing squad.
Yeah, so they get captured and they're going to be shot.
Stryker shows up.
They do get shot, and it tickles.
It tickles.
And then Stryker shows up and he gets them on his squad. They're going to find
adamantium.
What we find out later is adamantium, but we have no idea what
It's
they're
a meteor
doing
rocket
in the
at the time,
beginning.
yeah. They're just shooting
they're
people.
just going. And Wolverine's like, this is getting too violent. You're not doing what you said we were going to do. I'm out of here. So he leaves and becomes a lumberjack.
And he's just shirtless a lot. There's a super boring love story with him and Silver Fox in the comics, but her name's Kayla in the movie, and it's super boring. And then the Stryker comes back and says, hey, somebody's killing off our team, and we've already seen Victor Creed kill off the light bulb guy, Dominic Monaghan or whatever.
Yeah.
And so then Victor Creed shows up, he kills Kayla, so we think, and then Wolverine goes berserker rage, and Sabretooth escapes, and then Stryker comes back and says, I can give you your revenge.
So he's like, oh, only if you point me towards Victor and I kill him. Don't hold me back.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, we're going to insert adamantium into you, and we're going to turn you into a super
For
weapon.
this being such a major thing in Wolverine's backstory, it's about a 5-second scene.
Yeah.
He gets adamantium, then they're like, all right, wipe his memory while he's still awake, and he goes, what, you're going to wipe my memory? Arr! He kills one guy, maybe, and then leaves, jumps naked, runs into a barn, Agent Zero goes after him.
Yeah, and he enters the barn with like the most understanding old couple of all time.
Where he gets his motorcycle and his jacket from X-Men 1, and we're supposed to be like, oh, that's how it happened.
Yep.
Who cares?
Yep.
And then the old woman gets shot while she's holding a nice tray of breakfast
She's
for
about
him.
to feed him.
And then the old man gets shot, and then he kills Zero by lighting the helicopter on fire. He walks up, he goes and finds Gambit, because Gambit knows where the island is that nobody can escape
But Victor's
from.
there at the same time, and so
fight,
they fight.
And Gambit comes from the roof for some reason,
Yep.
and then there's oh god, it's terrible. And then they end up on the island where the Deadpool is made. He has no mouth, his eyes shoot lasers, he has katanas out of his hands, he's shirtless with Sharpie marks on. They fight on top of a nuclear silo after freeing and realizing Kayla's still alive but had betrayed him. Oh god, should I just
Yeah, and so they fight. Victor and Wolverine fight together, and they
Nobody kills you but me.
Yeah, Victor saves him. They kill Deadpool.
They chop off Deadpool's head, and then Logan finds Kayla at the bottom, and she's like dying, and he's like, no.
And then
Stryker
Gambit comes and saves Wolverine.
Yeah, and then Stryker comes, shoots him in the head 3 times with an adamantium bullet. He forgets who he is, and he walks off into the distance, and then that's it. And then there's a post-credit scenes where Deadpool is alive still, and Stryker is walking off barefoot, or till his feet bleed. Holy hell! All right, we got to get into this. We got 30 minutes. Here we go.
Boy.
So this movie, the biggest problem I have overall, A, is it's a mess, but B, the CGI is so laughably bad in it. This came out in 2009, and the CGI looks worse than X-Men, which came out 9 years earlier.
Yeah.
The claws look, we already said, Roger Rabbit claws. They're goofy as shit.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. I don't understand what happened. Like, if they just were given less money. Because there was a version of this that leaked on the internet before it came out with unfinished effects. And I saw some of it. And my buddy had a copy of it, and I watched like a few scenes from it, and I was like, oh man, this looks kind of cool. And then when I saw the movie, I was like, oh shit, they weren't that unfinished.
They didn't fix it. They
did not fix it.
They just ran with it. Maybe they ran out of money. Or maybe they're like, since it's the origin story, we want it to be shitty. Because we
so
want to
bad.
see the evolution
Now,
of his claws.
I do want to preface this by saying that I think the cast does a great job for like 89 to 90% of it. I really like everybody. Hugh Jackman is my fucking hero. I love that guy, and I think he is Wolverine. So anything we say on this show has nothing to do with Hugh Jackman and everything to do with this garbage pile of a movie
Let's
that
just
he
say,
deserves better, and he got it in Logan.
It has nothing to do with the performances. I spent the entire movie feeling terrible for Liev Schreiber and having to justify
actually great
everything
in it.
that he has to like
For what he has,
through. Yeah.
he's, for being just basically a one-dimensional snarly
Sure.
villain in it, he's fun to watch.
Sure.
But he gets there's no reason. All right, here we go.
They don't give him turn signals. They're just like, you're turning.
So the beginning, first off, I do have the sound clip from Baby Wolverine where he thinks his dad's been killed and he berserkers out, and I just love this kid's scream because he totally watched Hugh Jackman doing this 100 times, and he does it justice. Wow!
Right?
I mean, come on!
Right?
Give that kid some credit.
Not an asthmatic kid.
No,
That kid
come on.
has some lung capacity.
You know, it's funny. When I was a kid, I would have fits of anger, just over stupid things. And there was one time in my lunchbox that I always had fruit gushers.
Yeah.
And I always get the cherry kind.
Yep.
I didn't like grape because it reminded me of grape jam. And my mom used to crush up aspirin when I had a headache when I was a kid and put it in grape
What
jam.
a
So I
tricky mom.
always equated that like Tylenol-y taste to it.
Yeah.
Gross. So one day I get in, she must have ran out of cherry gushers, and I open it up and there's grape gushers in there in the middle of the cafeteria. I just was like, I just started stabbing it with my fork. Gusher, grape is spraying all over everybody. The teacher, the students.
That's a violent lunchtime.
Yeah,
When-
I had to change schools.
When I was little, this is a true story, and I hope he's listening, Rudy.
Rudy, I hope you're listening.
Yeah, hey, shout out to Rudy. I'm not gonna say his last name, but you know who you are, Rudy.
I've done that before, and they're like, shut up.
Oh,
I shouldn't have done that.
Rudy came to school. This is the story. He took a shower in the morning and it was cold, so he put a jacket on. And when he left for school, didn't realize that he didn't have a shirt underneath. So he came to school just jacket, no shirt, and he had to wear a jacket all day. And by the time it was 7th period and it was really hot in the school because we had
Yeah,
the
of
heat on
course.
because it was cold outside, he was feeling the heat and he just let out a.
Just
And it was bare-chested Rudy for a while.
oh man. So the opening, what did you think? I thought the opening's promising at first when they're fighting. I like the fact that they were brothers fighting in the war, and you start to get a hint that Victor, aka Sabretooth, aka Liev Schreiber, enjoys this more than Wolverine. Like Wolverine's fighting for a cause. Victor's fighting because he loves bloodshed. Because in World War II, he goes nuts and he's just like shooting and laughing, and Wolverine's like, whoa, man, that's too much, you know?
Right.
But I mean, so this was like 200 year, 150 year arc for him. It's glossed over in 2.5 minutes.
A little confused. Only later looking back in retrospect. In the beginning, I'm like, okay, I'm on board for whatever is going to happen. I was a little confused in the beginning, like in the kid scene. Like they gave us a whole bunch of information to download, and it didn't really seem to matter. The only thing that mattered was that Wolverine and Victor were brothers. That's
And
the
it
only thing
seems
that
like they're
mattered.
setting up like Victor's like, we got to protect each other. We got to
Right.
look out for each other.
Right.
They lose that when they're adults.
Like,
There's no
immediately.
All Victor wants to do is kill Wolverine.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
But in the comics, Sabretooth is always insanely jealous of Wolverine because Wolverine was able to go through the program and he's more indestructible. He's stronger than him. And Sabretooth always felt like he was bested by Wolverine. And it wasn't until Wolverine Origins in the comics that they revealed that they were brothers. But for decades, you didn't know that.
Right, so jealousy is an actual motivation,
Yeah.
and they should have inserted some of that into this relationship.
They
because,
do.
like,
They sprinkle
it's
it
like
here and
a
there,
tiny bit,
where he's like, "You said you give me the procedure," and he's like, "You won't survive it."
and that's the
That's
end
it.
of the movie.
Yeah, they need to have that throughout.
It
and they
has
don't.
to be there
because there's
because-
so many throwdowns with Sabretooth and Wolf. There's 3 in this movie.
Right,
It's
and-
like every 20 minutes they throw down, and you're like, "Huh."
None of them made sense to me because I was like, wait, they were fighting together, and
Yeah.
then Wolverine leaves, and all of a sudden they're mortal enemies. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
So that was the first building block, and I was like, okay, I got this. And then looking back, I was like, what the fuck? And then, am I wrong? Is he from Canada?
Yeah.
Why was he fighting for America? For like every single war we've been in.
Yeah. He, there's not a lot of wars up in Canada.
So he
he's a
was
fighter.
so thirsty for war.
He's a soldier. Yeah.
That he was like, but then later in the series, isn't he like, we shouldn't be fighting?
Yeah. A little bit. Yeah. Kind of.
So, okay, so then that's confusing to me. That he wants war so badly
Here's the
that
thing.
he impersonates an American to be in the American army.
Here's
to
the
fight
thing:
in war.
Wolverine has always been bred and raised to be a weapon, and his
Sure.
whole dramatic question is if he's better than that, if he's better than a weapon, if he's more than that, if he's capable
Right.
of love. And this movie tries to sprinkle that, but it doesn't succeed at all. And let's get into the first fight scene where the Weapon X crew or the X team, whatever you want to call them. Where Will.i.am is randomly in this movie.
Yeah, he is.
And he has the worst teleportation effects ever, where it's like a weird skeleton appears briefly.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. It's terrible. It looks like I did it with my VHS camcorders. Deadpool, we already played the boring Ryan Reynolds clip, which pales in comparison to him now. But my favorite thing about this is how, like, when Deadpool enters into that room and everybody's just mowing him down with machine guns, and he's just like, just willy-nilly spinning his blades around, blocking every bullet.
Sure.
And we don't at this point, if you don't know anything about Deadpool, you don't know that he has regenerative powers like Wolverine, and we don't even know if that's what they're going for in this movie yet, because they're playing so fast and loose with the mythology of it all.
But also,
and
like,
the canon.
he's not Deadpool yet, right?
No.
Like, so what are his powers at this point?
Yeah, and he's
just fast.
In the comics, he was always a mutant who had a healing factor, and he was a merc with a mouth. He was a mercenary. But like in the movie, the actual Deadpool movie, but that's so shitty looking. It's just such bad choreography.
Yeah.
And then that is pretty badass when he cuts the bullet in half and it hits the two guys behind him.
Sure.
That was pretty awesome. But then they go and they want to murder an entire village because they won't tell them where the adamantium is, and it's like, okay, you've been with. The other thing I don't understand is, has this team worked together before? Because
they didn't give us any sort of time
the way
lapse,
the dialogue is set up, it's like two of them knew each other and the rest are all stranger. It's very unclear.
Right.
It makes no sense.
Right.
I don't know why they didn't just use actual characters. I feel like all of these X-Men movies, sometimes they'll just throw in random characters that aren't X-Men ones because they're like, we're going to kill these ones off and we don't want to waste a real character just in case we go back to one.
Yeah.
Or they'll throw in some character that's just so fucking obscure that you're like, I guess that was a comic book character? Like, I don't remember Will.i.am's character in the comics.
This was the comic remix.
Dirty bit.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
But so if you're gonna have something like the adamantium meteor fragment, that's what that is, right? You have to at least be able, in the moment, if you're not gonna reveal what it is until later, you have to be able to put some sort of like true importance on it.
Yeah.
And
because otherwise they're just like, what is this rock?
Yeah, like,
all right, you're not gonna tell us, we're gonna murder all of you. And you're like, wait, what?
The village people are just like, I don't know where it came from, be honest with you.
We honestly don't know.
We honestly don't know. But
well, I believe you, but we're still going to murder you.
And they're not, like, even in that moment, they're not addressing, like, I understand that this is important to you, but, like, they're only addressing where it is.
Also, if Wolverine leaves, don't you think they're just going to murder all those people?
Yes.
Like, because they almost do, and he stops them, and he's like, I'm out of here. It's like, pretty sure once you walk off, they just kill all of them.
Right.
So that's not very heroic.
That's
of
like
you.
being at a party and like going individually up to people and be like, hey, I'm taking off. And like, as if you think like the party's about to end. And everyone's just like, okay,
right.
deuces then.
Except this party is a mass murder.
Right. Well,
okay. Yeah.
I mean, would you say it was a murder festival?
Yeah. Let's
'Cause
skip ahead
I'm into
to.
it.
So then he leaves. There's some really boring stuff with Kayla, the actress who was on True Blood, I believe. She's fine. It's just they're not given anything interesting. It's like it's just shoehorned in there so that we have a love story for Logan, and then they don't even have the balls to actually kill her, which is really frustrating. And there's so many questions I have with that. I know that she can change people's thoughts, you find out. She can suggest. She has the power of suggestion as her mutant power.
But over humans, right? She can't.
Supposedly. But then, if she was actually dead in that moment and she took something that suppressed her heart rate, Wolverine would smell that it was animal blood on her, not her own blood.
There were a couple of times where I was like, Wolverine's powers should have figured this out.
He has, like, the scent of a Wolverine, of like an actual animal. He has animal smell and sense and sound, and he can hear. So
Maybe
I don't
he was
understand.
overcome with his passion.
But it's
and he
like,
just couldn't-
and then what happened to her body? Did he go back and it's gone? And he's like, oh, fuck, all right, I guess her body's gone.
Well, okay, so a couple of
So
things about
confusing.
her. and
I'm yelling
gonna-
so much during this.
There's a lot of
How
anger
are we?
coming from-
Do we really only have 15 minutes left, Steve? That's insane.
I took 10
Holy
minutes to talk about coffee.
I thought we
so-
have a little bit after 5, right, or no? Oh, fuck.
All right, so let's go
Here goes.
quickly. Just a couple of things about her.
Yeah.
And just to skip ahead, when she reemerges and we reveal that she's still alive, and she tells the story of the day, he's like, tell the story of the day that you died. Literally all she says was, they injected me with something that made me seem dead. Like that is her story.
That's it.
It's like, if you're going to do a flashback, have a fucking cool story. Don't be
It's
like,
so
they
stupid.
injected me and I was in on it.
So then we have Victor and Logan's first throwdown as adults. Actually, second if you count the one in the death camp. And Victor's scraping on the thing, and then he says, "Can we play the insurance clip?"
You got insurance in this place?
Insurance? No.
Too bad.
Yes. Then they throw down. Wolverine gets his bone claw stomped on and then thrown into a truck.
Yeah.
And by the way, the semi-truck just keeps going.
Sure.
The semi-truck hits a person, keeps going. That's what happens in this town in Canada. And
Don't fuck with Canadians. That's what I learned.
He's in the hospital, And Stryker comes along and is like, I'll give you your revenge. And this is what Wolverine says. Can we play Get the Hell Out of My Way?
I come with you. I'm coming for blood. No law. No code of conduct. You point me in the right direction, you get the hell out of my way.
And you're like, yeah, this
Yes.
movie's going to get good again.
Right.
And then we go to the Weapon X scene,
Yep.
where in the comics, it's a major thing. They're training him as Weapon X. They erase his memory right away to make him a flat-out killing machine.
Yeah.
They don't decide after the fact, like, hey, maybe we should erase his memory now that he has this super adamantium-laced skeleton, you know?
So why? Oh my God! Why would they have made him indestructible if they plan to immediately destruct him?
I know, it doesn't make any sense.
Why did they use him? They didn't have anyone on staff that they could have been like, "Hey, do you mind if we just insert like?"
Because they're all building up
do
to
a psych review on you before we make you indestructible.
This movie's all building up to the pool, the Deadpool.
Right.
Can we play that clip? In fact, this is how they find the name Deadpool, number 11. I labeled it Deadpool.
Before I got you, I want to know why.
I needed your powers for the pool.
The what?
Mutant killer. Deadpool.
That's how we get the name Deadpool, because they took Wade Wilson, Deadpool, and they take all these powers from other mutants to add to him, which is stupid, because already this movie it's more Deadpool's origin at that point.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Instead of Wolverine's origin, which would have been awesome if they just erased his memory and then the rest of the movie he's trying to figure it out and then goes and kills all of them at the end.
This is legitimately this was a Deadpool origin story, but they didn't show us Deadpool's origin.
No, they didn't.
That's what happened. They had the camera backwards the whole time.
Yep. And then I love that while he's in the chamber getting all the adamantium in, they flash back to everything we just saw in the first 30 minutes of the movie again. And then he overhears them saying we should erase his memory, and Zero even goes, I think he heard you. and Hugh Jackman freaks out, and can we play Naked Fury? Because this is him busted out. Oh, sorry. And I mean, he looks awesome. He's jacked in this. He's ready to kill. And I think he kills one guy and then just jumps off a waterfall naked.
Yeah.
And runs in a barn in a goofy scene naked.
Yeah.
In fact, do we have that sound clip?
I think we do.
Can we play the naked in a barn?
I think there's a naked man in the barn.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
God bless these old people.
You
They
won't-
see a naked man running into their barn, and
That's
first
their
of all,
reaction.
they're okay with that. Second of all, they miraculously have a son who we never find out what happened to. They just keep being like, "Hey, our son left some clothes. Do you want them?" And he fits him perfectly.
Yeah.
And then
when their son
Wolverine-
comes back, he's gonna be real. I think
Yeah.
I think he died in the war or something. I think they
okay. Did they
insinuate
say
that.
it?
I think so.
But then he like shreds up their bathroom, and they're like,
Wah, wah. There's so
wah.
many cheeseball like 90s comedy stuff in here.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit, and
Yeah.
that's what's so annoying. And then when she gets killed, and then Zero comes in, and the best is Wolverine on the motorcycle chopping the tank, whatever Jeep's truck. It flips. He hops on the other one. They shoot a rocket at that, and he perfectly gets launched like a catapult from that exploding Jeep to the helicopter.
"Yep."
Is able to chop the blade off, fuck up the whole helicopter. It crashes, and somehow Zero is pretty okay. He's
Sure.
just kind of like awkwardly, like when you get in a recliner and it doesn't recline the whole way, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I can't really relax.
He's more like
this.
bummed out
Yeah, he's
than
just like,
anything else.
Hey, they're never gonna stop, you know. And what does Wolverine do? He claws the strategically placed gasoline trail.
Yeah.
That just happens to spark and lead to this amazing shot of him walking off and the helicopter blowing up.
Yeah.
Terribly cheesy, but I kind of, in the context of the rest of the movie, it's moments like that or him riding the motorcycle out of the exploding barn that I actually love compared to the rest of the garbage I'm watching.
Right. Well, here's what happened. They sat down to write the movie, and they were like, "We know that we want a shot of Wolverine with fire behind him."
They Michael Bay'd it.
Yeah.
They totally were like, just these are the things we want. Connect
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Connect it.
And they were like, "But we don't have a script." And they were like, "It's fine.
It's fine. Just start production.
We have fire."
And then they set up that adamantium will kill him. And
Right.
then in the third act of the movie, he goes, it won't kill him, but it'll erase his memory. And I'm like, what?
What?
That makes no sense.
What?
What? So there's all these logic jumps, and it doesn't make any sense. Then he goes and he's trying to figure out how to get Victor, and he wants to kill Victor and find Stryker. So he goes to find Will.i.am and the Blob. And actually, this guy, he's lost. He's let himself go.
Yeah, you could say that.
And Wolverine. This is how they come up with the name the Blob, who was a famous supervillain.
You tell me where Victor is. Come on, bub, for old time's sake, huh?
Did you just call?
Wait, where'd it go?
Listen, I ain't leaving here till you tell me where Victor is. Come on, bub, for old time's sake, huh?
Did you just call me Blob?
No. Actually, no.
It's
I actually didn't.
no.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's the bet. Like, they set up, so that's another, you're saying that's another origin?
His name is the Blob in the comics.
Yeah.
Nothing moves the Blob.
Right. And so that was created by, did you just call me the Blob? No.
Well, I guess that's my name from
That's
here
my
on out.
name.
This is so frustrating about this movie is that they throw in things to be like, huh? See, we use the real name. Huh? Isn't that clever? And you're like, no, it's actually really
It's actually
dumb.
not. You're just
Super dumb.
Square peg round hole.
Cyclops shows up for like 10 seconds where he gets chased by Victor Creed and he blasts open the school and
Right.
like all these things happen and then like the real world never reacts to it, you know? Like
Yeah.
nobody talks about all these weird things. And I get it. It's not about that. Then he goes and visits Gambit.
Right.
Which Gambit is a character that the X-Men fans like me have been dying to see. And then Taylor Kitsch, is that his name?
It is
From
his name.
Friday Night Lights?
Yeah.
Who's fine, but he's given nothing to do.
Yeah.
And basically Wolverine shows up and he's like, hey, I hear you're Gambit. You want to take me to the island? And he's like, never gonna go back. And then there's this lame fight scene with did you notice the fire escape? When he's hacking away at it, how it looks like so shitty CGI. It looks like flip book animation.
Yeah.
It's so bad. He's like, it's just like Wolverine stood there with no claws and they CGI'd that and he's just like, and it's just like in weird sped up. It looks like a Buster Keaton movie.
Can
It's so
someone
silly.
who knows how to do
Ready?
it CGI Ben into this exact situation right now, please?
Just add claws
I
and a
would
fire
love to see
escape.
it. I would love to see it.
Let's see how loyal our
so
fans are if they can do that.
That was another situation where like Victor is like right outside.
Yeah.
And he's there to find Victor, right? Yeah. Or he's like, that's his mission, and he doesn't know that he's right outside. And
You can't smell him?
Right.
Come on!
Right. He like stumbles into it. He's like, oh.
And then they start fighting.
Like, isn't this your thing?
Then he elbows or knocks out Gambit.
Yeah.
And then Gambit randomly shows up from like 7 buildings away, doing a giant charge and flipping of his baton and slamming or his staff on the ground, and then blows everything up and starts fighting him again. And that's when we get the cheesy. How did Gambit get from there to there? And why did he need that big of a running start?
Ben, he's a superhero, and everyone needs a running start.
Gambit's power is that he can charge any item and make it explode. He doesn't need a running start. It's just they were like, that's another thing
this
where
was
they were
the
like,
Gambit origin story, actually.
oh
he
my
didn't
god.
quite have a hold on it yet.
So then they have Wolverine versus Sabretooth where he's like, do you actually know how to kill me? Can we play that clip? Because this is number 10.
Nobody kills you but
Oh,
me.
sorry, number 10. My bad.
Tell me something, Jimmy. Do you even know how to kill me?
I'm gonna cut your goddamn head off. See if that works.
See, there's these moments that are badass
Yeah, that
like
would work, I think.
It wouldn't work with Wolverine because his spine is adamantium, but it would work with... You know, the way to kill Wolverine in the comics is to drown him.
Really?
Because he sinks and then he can't breathe and he can't heal once he's drowned.
Oh, that's interesting, because they were inserting the adamantium into him in a bath full
But they
of
had
water.
a thing on his face.
Yeah, so if they had just knocked that thing off, then they would
They
have
do
been fine.
retcon the whole Weapon X program in X-Men Apocalypse, which wasn't a great movie, and that scene was totally shoved in there, but it's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Where he goes nuts and kills a bunch of because he's supposed to like go completely crazy and just like hack everybody up and Stryker and he doesn't. It's stupid. So then we get Wolverine versus Sabretooth again. It's just like we have like a buddy cop moment with Gambit and Wolverine flying in a prop plane to the island. And then Gambit's like, all right, I'll see you on the other. Then Gambit disappears for the entire third act of the movie until he reappears to save him from the nuclear silo falling down.
Yeah, from the building falling on him.
That's it.
And then after that, they're like, okay, let's split up. There are children that need saving. And Gambit goes to find the children, and he doesn't save them.
No, they
just get
They go off
saved.
with Professor X,
Yeah.
who looks super creepy in the CGI young version of him.
Right.
It's terrifying.
Right, but so he's so useless the whole time. He's like, all right, let's split up. You go save them, and he's like, yeah,
I got it.
And he goes and he's just like
what did
kind of
he-
lost running around the
shit.
island, and then he comes back. He's like, well, I guess we gotta go.
We have to talk about Deadpool. And what I mean, we already sort of have, and we talked about how Silver Fox's Kayla's betrayal is so dumb, and she's like, "You have my sister." Like they didn't even have the balls to make her just like a turncoat and like make her evil. Don't just make it like, "Oh, we're gonna give you a twist that she's alive and that we're holding her sister Emma Frost," which it doesn't.
Right, make her evil, and then don't introduce a new motivation to me. 5/6 of the way through the movie, when Wolverine's like, "Oh fuck, your sister? Yeah, we should go get her." Because like, who cares? Like. If I were him,
And he's
I'd be
like, "I'm outta here."
You didn't even tell me you had a sister. Like, we were together for years.
He's like, "I'm out of here," and then he hears her scream, and he's like, but that's his hero call. He's always the reluctant hero. So they do some things okay, but for the most part, terribly in this movie.
Right, but we don't need the sister motivation. It
No.
can just be like, he's going to save her. That's enough.
Exactly.
That's fine.
Exactly. And then we have Weapon 11, a.k.a. Deadpool, a.k.a. How did this happen?
The Mummy. It might have just been
How
Brendan
did they
Fraser's The
go,
Mummy.
hey, we're going to take the merc with a mouth from the comics. The thing that everybody loves about him is he's like a really vulgar, winking at the audience Peter Parker, which they did in the Deadpool movie. We're going to sew his mouth shut. We're going to carve his eyes so that they look kind of like the costume, but not really. And then we're going to have Sharpie drawn marks where he had injections. And he's going to be shirtless in basically Ken from Super Street Fighter pants and with the wraps on his hands. And then he has katana blades coming out. Where did those go? Where did those come from?
Don't know.
His arms aren't that long.
I don't know.
Unless Ryan Reynolds has katana-sized, maybe. But then how does he bend?
Let me pitch
Do they
this.
bend in there?
Let me pitch this.
Because the Wolverine claws I could see going in.
They
Makes
cut
sense.
off his arms, inserted katanas, and then they were like, let's build arms around the katanas. First priority katanas.
And these katanas, they bend when they're in the arm, but when they're out, they're
rigid.
They're rigid
Yeah,
katanas.
for sure. They're like
Holy
tape measures.
shit.
They're tape
oh my
measures.
God. We have like a minute left. God
Oh,
bless America.
boy.
Then
Before I
Saber.
cut you, I want to know why.
I needed your powers for the pool.
God bless it.
The what?
The what?
Mutant killer. Deadpool.
So can we play? These are the last few hero lines that they give. Poor Hugh Jackman in this movie. He's so awesome, and he deserves, and he got a better movie, thankfully. But can we play Let's See You Dance Up Here? When he,
Let's see you dance up here.
that's him calling Deadpool up, and then he gets his ass handed to him, and Sabretooth shows up to save the day. And can we play clip number 13?
Nobody kills you but me.
Ah, they're friends again!
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't really kill your girlfriend, so we're cool, right?
But and then they fight together, but then Sabretooth later is like, this is not over, kind of, right? Like,
Yeah.
doesn't he like threaten him on his way out?
Yeah,
It's like,
and
well, then
he's
why don't
like-
you just fight him now? Like,
yeah,
why?
just fight now. And then Logan gets one last scream when Kayla's dying from a By the way, Kayla, the love interest who already survived a fake death, gets killed by a random minion's bullet as her and her sister and everybody are
How
escaping.
ironic.
And so Wolverine has one last scream as he's charging towards Stryker. You know, that's the similar reaction I had in the theater after this movie. I pretty much, after this movie, I just ran out to my car going, "Ah, I'll just do it. I don't even care. Ah!" He's not ready for the sound clip because we got to get out of
You know
here.
what's crazy? At Regal, they had an usher shooting people with adamantium bullets as they were leaving the theater, which I don't
To erase their
recommend that.
memory from the movie.
Yeah, but your memory's too strong.
Sorry that our show was a little short today. We had some technical difficulties to get started. We hope you enjoyed X-Men Origins Wolverine as much as we didn't. Go see Logan. Please tweet at me. I want to nerd out about Logan because it is fucking awesome. It's everything we've wanted from a Wolverine movie for the past 17 years. And we've gotten sprinkles of it with Days of Future Past, X-Men 2, The Last Stand. I love all the X-Men movies except this
Miserables.
and X-Men The Last Stand. This and X-Men The Last Stand are travesties. But like I said, Hugh Jackman has been the man. He brings it even in this silly shit.
Yep.
He's my hero.
It's I would also say Will.i.am's best movie performance.
Best movie performance.
Well done.
Yes. Well, next week, we don't know what we're going to do yet. It's going to be something awesome, though.
The next 2 weeks, I'm going to be in
you're out of
Australia,
here.
so
yeah.
I'm out of here.
We're gonna have a special guest. I'm going to figure that out. But until next time, where can they find you, Jesse?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at TooMuchJesse. Check out for sketch. Look up Prom Losers on Instagram at the Prom Losers. Search for our newest video on YouTube. It's a Jaden Smith celebration. Check it out.
There we go. Hey, and I'm at the Ben Begley on Twitter and Instagram, and at Funhouse Mass, the Funhouse Massacre, a movie my wife and I wrote, and also Guilty Movie Guys. If you want to hit us up about guilty movies, give us some suggestions. Comment in the section. What's your favorite X-Men movie? What's your least favorite? Let's get a dialogue going. Let's get some X dialogue going. Am I right? Until next time, what is your guilty movie pleasure, bub?
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Christian Harloff, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.